Hello. In this video, I want to talk about the new outbreak in Wuhan. It seems another outbreak has occurred in Wuhan. I don't think it came from that same lab. I think they shut that lab down. And my assumption is that this came from another wet market. I don't think this was intentional. Because at least not on behalf of the Chinese government. Because if there's one thing that I know, the Chinese Communist Party, or the People's Communist, but whatever the heck they call it, the leaders of the party, many officials view the youth as the most important demographic. The Chinese government views the youth as their top priority because the birth rates are plummeting, they're declining, and China's just doing they're having a really hard time right now, as far as I'm aware. Not that they would ever admit to that, but ever since COVID, the stock market it kind of crashed. China, uh, they severely suffered from the people's trust in the government and the stock market and investors. Everything went really bad for China around 2019 to 2020. Ever since COVID, hit its peak, China was in a really bad position. And I think that considering that, there's no way that they would try to cause another outbreak, especially one that kills children. And I don't know if the reports that I've looked at are true, but from different people and articles, different comments that I've seen, a few Chinese people have stated that their children have died from this, very quickly, in fact. And so I find that kind of interesting. It affects mainly children, kind of like how chicken pox, adults can get chicken pox, I think, but it's almost always children that get it, when they're like around what, like 5 to 10 years old, I think. I could be wrong, but I don't remember. But chicken pox, is like it's something like every kid gets pretty much like once or twice in their life. And so I think this is kind of what that's like. I'm very sure it's not a bacteria or a fungi. I'm pretty sure it's a virus of some type that came from their live food markets where they sell seafood and other diseased, grotesque animals like cats and dogs. They eat that too, you know. And in China, because of the extreme poverty there, despite whatever the Chinese government says, they always lie. But there's a lot of extreme poverty, especially in the cities, more so in the cities than in the farmlands, the outback country of China. So you have a lot of poor people. They eat, trash, and they drink, very unsanitary water, live in unsanitary conditions around a lot of each other. And China's in certain areas of China, there's like big breeding grounds for diseases. I mean, this could have been man-made. And I'm very sure. I personally believe that C19 was perhaps engineered, tweaked a little bit in that Wuhan lab. I can't be sure of it. Yeah, I'm sure the bat did come from a cave somewhere, but the that lab probably was testing the bats or whatever. I don't know, but I think there was some sort of animal cross contamination that went on at that lab or at one of the wet markets. I would assume, like flies or rats in close quarters with a bat or something. Because a lot of people, what's interesting is a lot of people, specifically at the wet market or the food market, whatever you want to call it, got COVID, right a little after that doctor got it, and a few other patient zeros did. I'm not sure which patient zero was the actual first patient, but my point here is that COVID-19 very clearly, in my opinion, came from these seafood or wet markets, whatever they're called, I forget. I think they're called wet markets, but this thing that children are contracting, they probably got one of the kids probably ate something from one of these live animal nasty disease ridden animal markets, and then the kids spread it to other kids. Maybe an adult got it or something. I don't know, but it seems to be primarily affecting children, which is kind of strange. But then again, I don't know much about viruses. But I would assume that this is probably way, way, way worse than COVID. That's my guess. I'm gonna bet fully on that. I'd bet my life on it. That's how certain I am. That this is way worse. It spreads far more quickly and injures and kills way more quickly. It infects way more quickly than COVID from what I've seen. I mean, out of nowhere, all this footage being leaked out of China, started to show like hospitals being filled up and people dying, body bags, whatever. So I would assume this is far worse. It has a far higher mortality rate than COVID. It spreads far more quickly. It's probably airborne, waterborne, as well. And it closely, to me, it kind of resembles this one like rabies variant or something. There was something that was found on Earth in a cave. Some kid contracted something the same kind of thing that's found in space in a way, or at least that virus had the same genes, or bacteria did. But there was sorry, that's my cat. What do you want? But there was this bacterial infection, or maybe it was rabies this kid got, but it was like some extremely unique variant that behaved or had similar genetics to something on the International Space Station, like the bacteria that eats metal, which that's a real thing. That's kind of crazy, but this kid got whatever and then died like literally a day later. Like the kid, like within I think an hour or two of the kid contracting whatever, the kid like stopped breathing and like had seizures. Like it was really bad, whatever it was, but it was like the only one of its kind that was contracted. And so weird stuff like this can appear, especially when you're messing with bats or rats, or there's dragon lizards or anything like that, which there's dragon lizards in China. I think they eat those. They eat all sorts of stuff they really shouldn't eat. That they can, cross-contaminate, crossbreed with stuff and create super viruses. That's how you get super viruses. That's how you got Black Death, the plague, as it's referred to, or Black Death. That's how you get that super rabies that kid got, that there was only one case of ever in history. And I think it was kind of covered up, I couldn't even find the video on it anymore. Maybe the person deleted it or it was taken down. I don't know. But I think that's what this is. It's one of those extremely rare super viruses. But, with China being so heavily populated, of course it's going to spread extremely quickly and have the chance to mutate, since it's, taking on so many hosts. So my assumption here is that this is probably going to make it into other regions before China starts somewhat openly admitting that something bad is happening. But because these videos started coming out, like 2 or 3 days ago, my assumption is that by now they're probably shutting down, trying to shut off different regions in Wuhan. And it's kind of crazy if these videos actually came out of Wuhan. Excuse me, but I think that just like COVID, by the time that China starts shutting down its airports and countries stop allowing people to travel by boat and plane to China and from China, I think by the time that happens, this virus will already have spread too far for it to be stopped. And I think that this one, is though it may mostly end up only affecting children, it could mutate and start affecting adults too. But I think that with this one, it will likely mostly target children, just from what I've seen so far. And so a lot of children will die. Um, and by the time anything's done about it, especially in China, it will be far too late. But this is very to me it's very reminiscent of COVID-19 concerning the scale of things happening, especially very quickly. Because it's kind of what happened with COVID, except this seems to be moving a lot more quickly. And if this thing is true, if what I've heard is true, China's stock market is gonna probably completely crash. They're gonna have a massive Great Depression in China, and it's gonna just wipe out the entire country. It's gonna massively impact the country, I think. Um, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but there's also the bird flu in the United States, H5N1, that is spreading to a massive amount of poultry, and humans can contract it now. I thought humans couldn't, but I guess it's evolved, it's mutated. But I thought a few years ago I heard that like bird flu has never been contracted by a human before, but I guess it can spread now to humans. So we have that too. So yeah, and then there's the weird fog spreading illnesses, which I got a few days ago, and it's kind of come around on and off. But I literally got these flu-like symptoms, like throwing up, diarrhea, nausea, headache, that kind of thing, stomach ache. I literally got, it was almost like norovirus, or norovirus, whatever it's called, which I got literally a few hours after I went outside and breathed in that fog. So there's that too. And then all the looming wars, lots of crazy stuff going on. But yeah, whatever this is, I don't think that it's man-made. I don't think it's a bioweapon of any type. I don't think it's like some cross bioengineered virus or anything. I don't think it's a bacteria or a fungi. I think it's some sort of virus, and I think that it was probably contracted at a wet market somewhere in Wuhan, I guess, if it did come from there. So yeah, kind of interesting that this thing allegedly has come from Wuhan, just like COVID. I guess that's going to be a thing now. Every new super virus just coming from excuse me, Wuhan. And if you think the COVID thing was bad, that only had a mortality rate of like 2.5%. This thing, I thought I saw somewhere that this thing had like a mortality rate of like 30%, or even if it was 10%, I mean, that's still 3 times worse, almost 4 times worse than COVID. But I mean, if it is true that this thing has a mortality rate of like 20 or 30%, then yeah, that's going to be really bad. Like hundreds of millions of people around the world will probably die from this, if it is what some are claiming it is. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video on this because I found this to be of utmost importance. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Definitely comment. So yeah, so check out my other videos. Really gotta mention that.